Hi babies! We're making some vegan eggplant Szechuan for Ilana, my darling. This is like the shittiest eggplant ever, but it was what was at the kiosk, so, and malasot. It helps if you have a big fancy knife, but if you don't, it doesn't matter. You can use this also. That's what I'm gonna do. Look, first we're gonna take off the skin. And I don't like using a peeler because it's shit, so I just use a knife. Take off the peels. And I'm sure you can hear that horrible noise in the background, which is our ninda, or as we call it in other countries. I don't remember. Hood, whatever. Fuck it. What's important here now is peeling the eggplant. Look here. Don't use a peeler. It's not good. Okay? Once we take all the peels off, and I'm saying don't use a peeler for a reason. There's a kind of toxin in eggplants that sits around 1 millimeter below the skin. And if you have any allergies or things like that, like I do, it's best to take it down like 1 millimeter or something like that. I'd sooner die than give up eating eggplants, by the way. Okay? So now we're gonna cut them up. And this is like the easiest and most delicious thing in the whole world, okay? Now we're gonna cut up the eggplants. You don't need to salt them or any of that garbage. It's not true. But to try to find ones that don't, the lighter the eggplant, the higher quality. Look, there's no developed seeds in here. So you don't have to salt them or squeeze out the water or anything like that. The heavier the eggplant, the less quality and the more horrible they are. So just look for like the lightest ones you can find. Now we're gonna cut them into like finger-sized pieces, like this, okay? You saw my super fancy knife here that I used to cut it with? Not everyone can afford a knife like this. Look babies, look at the size of them, okay?
That's what she said.
Ha ha. If you're wondering about this ridiculous whisk, I brought every single bit of equipment over to Oasis like 7 years ago, so I don't have anything over here. Woo! This is a quite nicer eggplant than I expected. And that's what she said, putos. It's very important when you're making these. Look. They don't have to be all exactly the same, but they need to be the same, like, relatively the same width. Okay, this is like if you're making it at home. Now I'll show you if we were making it at the restaurant, which we never do because we could care less about vegans or people in general. If you're doing this the professional way, then everything has to be exactly, and I mean exactly, the same. Which means this goes to the garbage, or in this case, it goes over here. And these will cook the same way anyway. Okay, now look here. First and foremost, we need to drink some wine. I see that Alone has some over here, so I'm just gonna take hold of that if I can reach it.
That's fucking mine.
He's a motherfucking puto. listen up. Always make sure you have a big old glass of wine on hand when you're starting to cook, because that's the most important thing. Okay? Now we got here Capital Elephant brand, which isn't my favorite. I actually prefer Cock on the Mountain brand. But never mind. Now we have Szechuan pepper here that we actually got from Hong Kong.
China.
So it's probably infested with corona.
China.
Well, whatever. Now, part of this recipe involves beer, which I fucking hate, except for Corona. I recommend Corona, but you can use any kind you want. Now, look up. This is how you make your batter, yeah? I don't weigh or anything like that, anything. This is enough for around 4 people, okay? Flour. Corona beer. You can have a sip or two if you want, but I personally don't like beer at all, so I'm sticking with wine. I prefer Corona for this particular recipe, given the times that we're in. Look here. That stinks. I have this little housewife whisk because everything I own went to Oasis around 7 or 8 years ago. Now look up. First you make like this disgusting paste. Look, it must look like this first. Then you add some water. Loosen it up a little bit. The yeast in the beer is going to start working like regular yeast. And the Corona is even better because it's got all the viruses and all that stuff in it. So if you can get Corona, it's even better. So loosen it up with a little bit of water, and then add a little bit more of the beer. It should be about, well, this is a bit too loose. So I'm gonna add a bit more flour. You see how precise my recipes are? That's why I make the big bucks. And by big bucks, I mean I make around $1,000 a month owning my own restaurant. Okay, look, this is perfect. You see the drops are falling off, but not like or it's just like, okay? Now we need to let the gluten start to work, so we're going to put it away for around 5 minutes. Now we'll make the sauce. Okay? Now we have ginger, which by the way you should have around the house anyway because it kills germs and viruses and all that stuff. So I'm using like the fanciest knife I have. It's like so expensive you couldn't even afford it. Look here. I'm going to show you guys something. How to peel ginger. All my little spoons are gone. They went to Oasis, but look here. This is how to peel ginger. With the back of a spoon. It's better if it's a little spoon, like an espresso spoon. But like I said, I don't have any over here anymore because they all went to Oasis. It's much faster with the little ones. And that's what he said. I don't, never mind. Everything all went to shit. Okay, look. Okay. Now we're gonna use a ginger grater to grind up the ginger to just get the well, never mind. This is a ginger grater, and if you don't have one, I guess you're fucked. Or you can just cut it up with a knife and like this super expensive knife of mine, and it'll be the same thing. The only advantage to this, to be honest, is it just leaves out the strings. You can use whatever you want. You can just cut it up into small pieces. It's the same thing. Now, what's most important is that you need to take a sip of wine every like 2-3 minutes. Otherwise, you might lose concentration, and the whole dish will go to shit. So, okay, now I'm taking my my authentic Hong Kong Szechuan chilies, which are so infested with virus that I'm probably gonna kill the whole neighborhood. The sooner the better. Now look up. You don't want a lot of these because they're pretty strong, even without the virus. So you need like about this much for around 6 people, yeah? Put them on a dry cutting board, and then you smash them like this. Ooh, look. Now the corona is starting to work. You see the yeast bubbles? That's because the coronavirus sphere is extra strong, and it's taking around 3 minutes to start working. Perfect. All right, now look up. Personally, I hate garlic. I think it's disgusting and it makes me sick. But in this particular case, we need some. So we take like the smallest possible piece we can find. If you have like 6 or 7 cats, that's also good. I really despise garlic. Never mind. Moving on. This knife, Alon bought me when he was trying to get my pants around 20 years ago. And he bought me this and a bottle of 85. Morgon? No.
True, but never mind.
It is true. Wait, I think I have one more bottle. Just a minute.
I don't know where it is.
Can't find it, but I know it's still there. Anyway, he managed to steal me away from a former man who we won't talk about. And this knife is like the biggest piece of shit ever, but at the time it was like I would have killed myself to get it, and he bought it for me. So for Alon, now let's touch the most disgusting thing in the world, which is garlic. Fuck my life! I think I have gloves somewhere, but I don't feel like getting them. So never mind. Now look. I'm not usually one for smashing garlic because in any way garlic isn't my cup of fucking tea, but I'm smashing it just because I don't, it's not part of the sauce. It's just gonna be like lightly flavoring it. Wait a minute, I need to wash my hands. Look guys, the days, it's 20 seconds. La 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 la. You're supposed to sing happy birthday 2 times, but I don't know in what language. But I wish I could remember the Dutch one because it's around 40 seconds each. But in any case, look, putos, I'm not kidding. This is not how you wash your hands. You wash your hands like this. And you wash all the parts of your hand, la 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 la, for 20 seconds. All right, let's go. Now, I still smell a bit of soap in my hands. but it's better than beer or garlic, for fuck's sake. Gross. All right, now we have our oil over here. This is canola oil. It doesn't have any taste, so that's about that. I don't have anything to say about that. You can use peanut oil, but if you're planning to feed it to someone's kids that may have a peanut allergy, you might kill them. So I suggest canola and not peanut oil. Now, down to the chilies. As far as I'm concerned, the more the better. But all you Ashkenazim or whatever, you don't even have to put it in. It's your fucking problem. I'm putting a lot. Now look up. This sauce is really easy. It's like the easiest thing ever. All you do is you have a stove that you hope works, and mine apparently doesn't. So we'll just move this little operation over here. Little bit of oil. Canola, as I said, unless you want to kill your friends' kids, which I recommend. Peanut oil. What the fuck is it? So first we're going to roast the chilies, and jokes aside, you can use any kind of chilies you want. It doesn't have to be ones from Hong Kong or any of that crap. Get the oil a bit hot first, not boiling hot, so it will roast them but not burn them. I'm using about 4 times more than any human in their right mind would use. So just take that into consideration. I would recommend about 1 or 2 for normal people. If you have some extra Corona, you can just drink it, but I don't like beer, so I'll just leave it for a while. When you smell the chilies getting like roasty and toasty, then that's time to take them out. They're not there yet. They shouldn't be burnt, but they shouldn't be, you can smell them when they're the right way. They should actually smell like burnt toast, but really hot, so you're gonna start coughing and sneezing. Okay, when you see the pan starting to get hot like that, you can just turn it off and they'll be perfect after you come back after having a sip of wine. Okay, now look here. First, you put the eggplants in flour, yeah? Huh? And you just dust them around a little bit. And you're not cooking them all at once, so you're going to shake them out with your hands first, like this, yeah? So there's just a little bit. Then, I don't even know where the fuck I got this. Now, professionally, you're supposed to always have a dry hand and a wet hand. So you don't have to wash your hands every 5 seconds dry. We'll see how that goes, but just remember what I said, okay? Look here. You don't want a lot of batter because you don't want it like some fucking ghetto fish and chips. Look here, this perfect temperature. The second it goes in, It starts bubbling, but it's not gonna burn or anything like that. Don't forget to wipe off the excess batter before you drop them in the oil. As you see, I kind of did a shitty job because there's some drops of batter in there, which is not good. Now, I don't know where my spider or anything else is because I think I brought everything to Oasis. Oh, look. One from San Francisco 25 years ago. So let it sit there. They need to get all the way cooked in the inside and light brown and gold on the outside. So don't fuck around with them that much. Just let them sit there and be happy and enjoy life. And when you see them, the little pieces on the outside turning golden, then you can flip them over. Okay? Not before. Don't mix them around like a fucking stew. In the meantime, you can have a sip of wine. And you can think about the rest of your sauce for them, which is this disgusting garlic. Huerco Dios! Put them in the oil that is already there. The ginger that we talked about, it doesn't need to be grated on a ginger grater. It can be just even brunoised by hand. I just happen to have this lying around from Hong Kong, so I decided to use it. Szechuan pepper. Put it in the oil, the warm oil, not hot. Sugar, I don't know where the fuck it is, but I know I have it somewhere. Huerco Madres Dios Putos. You're not supposed to see my cache of food sitting over here. Ah! Sugar. Woo! Look. Look, guys, look in there. Now it's starting to be perfect. Now you can start flipping them over. Light gold. Fuck off. Light gold, not horrible, burnt, whatever. Okay, that's perfect. Now we have a little bit of sugar over here. If you don't like sugar, well, that's your fucking problem. Some shitty wine. Ah! I drank it all? Mother of Jesus. Okay, I'll have to donate some of mine. It's better if you have sake, which I do somewhere, but I don't feel like looking for it. Look here. The garlic that was just sitting in the warm pan and the chilies, some sugar, the ginger, the Szechuan, and soy sauce, yeah? Don't use any crappy Israeli soy sauce or whatever. Only Japanese. Now, look here. They're perfect. You see? Golden, not burnt, not nothing. We take them away and we put them on the paper towels over here. No more than this. You see? Little babies, don't make them more than that. I think it needs a bit more sugar and a bit more wine. It's really much better with sake or mirin. But I don't happen to have any here because I brought everything over to Oasis. Okay, so the pan's still warm and everything. It's now, like when you want to toast something, get it pretty hot and whatever, but if you just want to bring a very small bit of the essence of what you put in, then just turn off the pan and the heat will bring out the essence of it. Okay? And first of all, I'm missing my music. And this stupid hood is fucking my life and I can't hear anything. I'll turn it off. Oh, yay. Well, then let's turn on some music.
I can't. No.
Can't?
Next time.
Fucking A. Well, okay, look guys. They're super crunchy. They're like, look, listen. But that depends on if you're being careful, putos, and not getting the oil too hot. Ow! Mucho Dios. Then you put them in, and you just, and instantly, don't mess around, don't fuck around, take them out. That's enough sauce. You don't want to get them soggy, whatever you do. You just take them out instantly after it's just tossed in the sauce. And then you add some kuspara, otherwise known as coriander or cilantro or whatever the fuck you people want to say in your language. But it's delicious. And you just, remember what I said about the sauce. Look here. Then you just tear it up with your hands. And then you just eat them up. Yum, yum, yum. And I'm going to be eating them with a little bit of Grenache of Neve Yarak.
No.
Well, never mind about the little commercial. We'll do that tomorrow. But it's super good wine. Now we'll eat them. And you'll excuse me about the plating because I didn't do such a good job. But if you listen to my words, you'll get something so delicious, you'll want to cry. See you tomorrow.